All right, how's it going, everybody? It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy show, and we've got a three-gamer to talk about for tonight. It is a pretty good one, a bunch of big names, so I'm pretty excited as far as three-gamers go. Excited to hopefully get to watch some of these games as well. I think they're going to be fun to watch, and hopefully we get to make some money doing so. For today, we'll go over last night. We do have lineup study. Yeah, it's a solo show for you guys that have noticed. Nolan only joins me for the 4+ game slates. I think we're going to get Cliffy on. I can't remember if I mentioned that the other day. Maybe I did on Monday. But yeah, 4 is the cutoff for Nolan. He's got other stuff to do. So no reason to waste his time for a just 3-gamer and the 2-gamers and the showdowns and stuff. So it's just me tackling it alone, which is good. I've got you guys, and I don't know that I've got a bunch of crazy takes for tonight's game. I am 150ing tonight. I've got all my entries in. Fantasy Cruncher is working perfectly. Hopefully you guys were able to work at the people that do use it. I was trying to use some other optimizers in case FC didn't come up, and I didn't have much luck. I was not liking what I was getting, so I was glad FC came up. Was able to get in a bunch of lineups. Wasn't able to do my normal process because of the amount of games. Like it was still working slow because of the stack rules and all that, but was able to at least get something in. I felt pretty comfortable with. Now I didn't win. So, maybe I should have just not played. Maybe I should have just withdrawn. But I've played every slate so far this year, I think. And I don't think that's going to stop. I guess I'm going on vacation in about a month, so it might stop then. But we'll see. It's been a pretty fun season. 1099s are out for DraftKings. I saw someone tweeted that. So we've got that going for us, I suppose. If you did get one, if you didn't, next year or this year is the year 2020. Or maybe you got one for FanDuel or Yahoo. Good stuff. Today, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, speaking of Yahoo, is the sponsor. As always, use promo code Awesemo to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points on your first sign up. Yahoo has lower management fees. They've got less sharks in the ecosystem, and Yahoo's one of the most trusted names in fantasy sports. As you guys know, they've got season long, but they're trying to grow their DFS product, and they're helping us out. So go help them out. They're bringing the heat every night for NBA, 5K to first in their 30K baller. Wish we could get something like that for NHL, but obviously it's a different sport. I think Yahoo is becoming more popular for NBA, which is good to see. They've also got golf contests, a couple no management fees going for tomorrow. Few spots left in the first one. Yahoo, nice enough, giving enough to roll out a second one. So go take advantage of this. This is a 10 max one. So what do you have, 2% of the field? I can't even do my math correctly right there. But anyways, go play on Yahoo. They're the sponsor. They support us. Buffalo won. Nice contrarian stack. We'll get there. I'm not a big Buffalo guy. You guys know that about me. I think they're going to be low owned, so they've got that going for them. There are some big names on this slate. Today, NHL projections, if you want to check out the model that Alex and I have come up with that we've been using for the year, and all the subscribers on the site that have at least a regular package, this is what we're using. So if you're thinking about joining, great day to test out the projections. If you've got another optimizer you use, if you use FC, you can obviously get FC through us as well. But if you got it on your own and you want to use our projections for today, they are free. They're unlocked for today only. But everything's pretty tight. Together as far as like exposures that I'm getting today, which I like on these short slates. I don't like to be all in on one's team, especially when it's the heavy chalk. Yeah, people will have Eichel one-offs for sure. Eichel one-offs. Those have killed us a number of times. Killed me a number of times. Maybe you guys have profited from them, but I have not profited on the nights when Eichel is smashing and not getting his teammates involved. Pretty selfish of him. Let's look at last night. The 259, the 20K winner was TPZ 902, just 2 lineups. That's all this user needed, and it was Edmonton, McDavid, Athanasiou, and then St. Louis 2-man. St. Louis 2, I ended up not getting enough of them. I was scrambling at the end, like I said. But a 2-man, Robert Thomas and Zach Sanford. He's had a couple massive games recently, on quite a bit of a tear. Even playing with Thomas, and I can't remember if it was Steen or who it was on that second line, but he's been really good lately. St. Louis 2 was awesome last night. The new toy, McDavid and Athanasiou and Ennis, that worked out pretty well. So just your average 2-2-2 here. This user did correlate Cernak, I suppose, with Kucherov and Stamkos. Didn't get much out of his defensive spots, but it didn't matter with the 44 and the 24.5 from Thomas. Just jammed in the studs jammed in the studs forwards, the stud forwards. Georgiev, good performance. I think gave up 3 goals, but got the bonus and got the OT win. Let's look at what else we had. Pretty good night for the Sharks, it looks like. Kreller almost took it down. Was within 20 points with just a single entry. That's pretty impressive. Could have easily snuck up into this top 2. TPZ 902 kind of ran away with it last night. Let's look at the $8 that was just 5K to first on a 13-gamer. Now, tonight, it is 10K to first on a 3-gamer. Why they changed it to 5K to first yesterday, I have no idea. I get the price point. It was for Ovechkin, and maybe they're going to stick with that. I remember them sticking with that last year towards the end of the season, but whatever. I guess I get to do $150 for $300 less, but it is what it is. We got to deal with it. So it is 10K to first tonight, which I like to see. I prefer the top heavier payout structures, but I prefer consistency overall because you don't want to get first on a night when it's 5K and third on a night when it's 10K. You like them to just be consistent with whatever they're going to do, and they had been running the 10K to first every night until last night, so I hope they go back to that. It filled really early too, so should be no issue if they want to keep it at an $8 price point. Never know. Took it down just a single lineup. That's pretty tough to do in a tournament with almost 6,000 entries. McDavid, Draisaitl, Ennis, no Athanasiou, Perron, Thomas, Sanford, full St. Louis 2, and then Justin Falk scored a goal. Keith, good call by Nolan last night. He liked Duncan Keith. 22.1 fantasy points, scored a goal, got an assist. Just a really big performance. How about the Blues giving up 5 goals to the Blackhawks last night? That's I said it on the show. I did not see that one coming at all. So yeah, I mean, when that kind of thing happens, I like to be a little bit contrarian in at least a part of my lineup. But I basically had no Blackhawks. I think I had a couple Keith shares, but that was it. It was not. It ended up not being good for me, but I kind of knew that going into the last game. Edmonton PP did, make it lightened the loss a little bit for me. So here's where I was. Only cashed 25 out of my 150. Lost a little less than half last night. So petty. All right, you DM me. Petty theft. For all you guys, he took down the 150K last night. I know this is an NHL show, but look at this guy taking it down. Oh wait, was this last night? Yeah, this is last night. 150K first prize. Can you guys see that? Petty theft. There you go. What a stud. All right, I'll message you back when I'm off here. For the one of you, 100 of you that are in here, if you guys could drop us a like, that would be very helpful. We do really appreciate the likes. It helps us with the YouTube algorithms. Yeah, definitely really lucky there for you, Pet, as always. But yeah, if you guys could drop us a like, that would be fantastic. Helps us out. Spag says helps us keep the lights on here at Awesemo.com. It's something like that. So continue to do that, not just on our stuff, but the NBA shows. And you guys are doing a great job of that. So thank you. Let's talk about the games. We've got just 3 of them, so I'll go through and then we'll get out of here. If you guys got any questions along the way, feel free to drop them in. I rely on you guys on these shorter shows to try to stretch the show out a little bit. 2.5 implied total for the Sabres, 3.5 for the Avs. We have Carter Hutton and Pavel Francouz going for the Avs. Not seeing a ton of changes in this game. You got Wayne Simmons going for Buffalo now. They got him on at the trade deadline. I mean, is that really the piece that you want to add at this point in his career? I mean, I would say no. Maybe they're going to give Skinner a little bit more time on ice. I saw he was under 13 minutes last game, which is absolutely hilarious. I mean, whatever. They just clearly, they don't like him or what's going on there. I have no idea. Not really interested in figuring out tonight, but I think Skinner does make for a pretty decent one-off at 4,200 if you're playing over on DK. Colorado, McKinnon specifically is going to be hefty chalk, and maybe he gets to 50% in some tournaments tonight. I think in the higher field stuff, like I think in the lower entry, higher dollar amounts, I think McKinnon's probably going to be over 50%. 8,100, the pricing soft, his line mates are cheap. I mean, it just makes so much sense whether or not you're stacking him or one-offing him. Two-manning with Landeskog isn't even that difficult. Like, you can power play stack Colorado really easily. Cale Makar's priced down. It's like too easy to jam in Colorado. So I'm definitely not avoiding them. I think McKinnon is probably the best overall play in the night, probably projects as the best play. He's one-offable even at that ownership. Just be aware of what you're doing. If it fits perfectly and you're just jamming in the line ones and line twos and you got your McKinnon one-off, it might I might hold off on entering a lineup like that because it's just you're going to be pretty likely to be duped, which is unfortunate on any slate, but it obviously gets tougher to have unique lineups on a 3-gamer. But Colorado won maybe the top stack of the night. It looks like they're being owned at a reasonable amount based on their ownership share using our top stack tool. So they're not like grossly underowned or anything like that. They're pretty easy to fit, and it looks like people are jamming them in. So I really have nothing bad to say about them. It's not a bad matchup at all. It's a big total. Going up against the Eichel, Olofsson, Reinhart line, I'll take that all day. I'll definitely take going up against the second and third lines for Buffalo if they ever get some time against them. McKinnon's going to play 20-plus minutes, probably closer to 25 if this game's close. So the floor is as good as anyone. The ceiling is massive. And I think you've got a pretty good option on the second line as well. Tyson Jost, JT Compher, and Jonas Donskoy. Also a pretty interesting line. They're cheap, but I think you could do something like Compher, Donskoy, McKinnon, or do like I said, a power play stack with the 2 cheap guys. The guy I'm probably leaving off a little bit would be Tyson Jost. 2,500. He's not going to be a big part of the power play. And I think people will just see the power play 1 tag and just jam him in there with McKinnon. It's good in theory. Like maybe he gets an assist here. Maybe he gets a goal. I'm not exactly sure. But I think Tyson Jost especially might be a guy to go underweight on. So I'm going to try to do that. It looks like he's not even owned that much, but I wonder what percent of Tyson Jost's lineups have Nathan MacKinnon in them. And even if you do play those two guys, if you power play stack, like I said, if you full stack it, yeah, you're not going to leave off the $2,500 guy if you're trying to power play one stack. So I will have some of him for sure. I just don't want to have a ridiculous amount, which you might get if you just let it run here. You can full stack the second line. You can Josh stack Colorado here. I'm getting to very little Buffalo. I'm always looking for reasons to play these teams on short slates. Like, I think you can do some Eichel one-offing tonight if you're not doing the classic 3-3, or if you're not power play stacking. So I do have some Eichel one-offs. And then, I mean, the full stack looks like it's reasonably owned. So they are pretty sneaky. Someone mentioned, I suppose they're pretty sneaky. So yeah, Avalanche Sabres only game until 10 p.m. Right. So get that wrong and the night's over. But if you get that right and you can, like let's say it's Colorado 3 doing a bunch of the damage and you have a few Colorado 3 shares, then you can diversify with what you have left in those last two games, kind of chalk up the rest of your lineups if you do hit on something low owned in that first game, or let's say Donskoy, double dongs or something like that. You're going to be in a really good spot. So I think it does make sense to have a bunch of exposure to this game rather than trying to chase. And, if you get it wrong, like if McKinnon and Nichushkin and Landeskog have huge games, I mean, have fun trying to swap. It's just, it's going to be low percentage. You still should do it. Like if you fade them and they have a big performance, it's not like Vegas couldn't score 7 goals or Pittsburgh couldn't score 7 goals and bring you back. But I think the top 2 spots for me are Colorado top line and that Vegas, my favorite line in hockey, the Carlson line. I think those are the top 2 spots, and they're really close tonight. And ownership is going a little bit more to Colorado because it's McKinnon. Everyone loves playing him. He's got cheaper line mates. I'm actually below the field on McKinnon, but I'm still going to have a good chunk of my lineups. We'll have him. And then Cale Makar, one of my highest owned defensemen. It's going to be him and Theodore up there for me. I'm actually okay playing Graves. His minutes have come down a little bit, so his price has come down. 4,800 on a short slate here. This makes sense to maybe try to play him as a pivot to Cale Makar. So his peripheral numbers are fine, but when he was like 5,600 on a huge slate, and people were still playing him, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. But here, it is a really good spot against Buffalo, 5-on-5, and the power play. I mean, Colorado's just really good. EJ, Eric Johnson, 3,500, another guy that I kind of like on Colorado's defense. And then it's probably going to be Buffalo 1, Skinner 1 off on the Buffalo side. Maybe Eichel 1 off too. I mentioned the Eichel 1 off. But Dahlin, I mean, his minutes are falling. It looks like they're going to go with 6 defensemen tonight, which is nice. Who knows? I mean, these numbers jump around on all these Sabres defensemen. I think Yoki Haru played over 20 last game. If you can replicate that, like if you told me he was getting 20, that'd be my favorite guy on Buffalo. You got Ristolainen and Dahlin expected to play on the top power play. I think either of those two guys are fine as correlation plays. Neither of them look like great one-offs, though, at least from what I see. So let's move it on to the next game. This one's pretty much Colorado. I am with the chalk tonight. I really am. And this game, no different. All right, Oilers, Golden Knights, 2.8 implied total for the Oilers, 3.7 for the Golden Knights. Mikko Koskinen and Marc-Andre Fleury are both confirmed for these teams. New addition for Vegas is Nick Cousins. He's going to slot in on the third line with Stevenson and Nick Roy. On the other side, we saw McDavid, Ennis, and Athanasiou get a chance last night for the first time since those two were picked up. And they had a good game. I think they had 2 full line goals. McDavid had a 3-point game. Or no, maybe he just had 2 points. But anyways, they did have a good game. I looked at them on Natural Stat Trick. It backed it up. They did a good job generating chances. Actually, a really good job of generating chances and got some results, which was nice to see. They also stayed together for pretty much the whole game. That is very good to see. And then you've got the second line who's listed as all on the top power play. I wonder if Athanasiou is going to get a chance on that top power play at some point. But at the very least, you're going to get Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins. So it was nice to see McDavid have real line mates. I kind of like this second line, though, for the Oilers. I like that. If Archibald's not going to be on it, that's definitely a bonus. Chason, much rather have in there just for the power play 1 tag. Good price on him. And then, getting Archibald off there, I think, is really important. So I like Edmonton 2 a little bit more as a full stack based on their ownership, especially when you compare them to Edmonton 1. So let me go back to the top stack tool and see what we got here. They're being owned pretty fairly, but I just think it's going to be a really, really difficult spot at 5-on-5 for McDavid. Last home game for the Golden Knights, they had Carlson, Pacioretty, and Stone seeing top competition for the most part. It wasn't a crazy hard match, but it was significant enough that I kind of made me raise my eyebrows a little bit. So you would think with Stone and Pacioretty there and Carlson, I mean, it's just a really strong line. It's been much stronger defensively. Well, it's been elite defensively and elite offensively, honestly. So that would be the line you would want to go up against McDavid with. And then, you go Stastny, Marchessault, Smith, see most time against Draisaitl, Hopkins, and Chason. And that's a really good matchup for both sides, I think. So I'm pretty cool down on Edmonton 1 despite the good game last night. I am in love with Vegas 2. Their back is listed as Vegas 2. They're always they're really Vegas's top line. Yeah. Right. I was just saying that Athanasiou would just I think at some point he's probably going to get an opportunity on the top power play. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but where are we at here? I was fawning over Vegas 2. Yeah, Vegas 2. Probably my favorite line tonight. Love full stacking them. You can go Stone, Pacioretty. You can go any variation of a 2-man here. I like the Stastny line, but and they get to avoid McDavid, which is nice. It's not a big deal if you go up against McDavid. He's not a great defensive center, as you guys know. If I am going to Edmonton again, it's probably Edmonton 2 as a full stack, or more likely just Edmonton power play with McDavid somehow in there. Ethan Bear at 3,700. I think he played 26 minutes last night, 25 minutes, which is crazy for 3,700, and he was on the top power play. So, I mean, pretty obvious play there if he's going to play those kind of minutes. I still do like Nurse for 5,400, though. If we're just going to completely forget about Nurse, he's playing similar minutes. He's not playing the top power play. But I still think he is a pretty solid play, especially as a one-off. I would expect Ethan Bear to be more popular than him. McDavid got fresh legs, and real wingers might torch Vegas 2. No one torches Vegas 2. So, McDavid's amazing, but this line is, I mean, they're way more complete than, Edmonton 1 as a whole. So I'm not too worried about that. I think if McDavid gets there, if he has a ton of success tonight, I think it's more likely that it comes on the power play. Stastny, Marchessault, Smith, again, good filler stack, but I don't think I'm going to have a huge edge on them in terms of ownership. I think I'm going to be closer to where the field's at because they look pretty popular. And I'm trying to get to the Carlson line if I can at all. If I was making one lineup tonight, it would be like Carlson, Pacioretty, Stone, I think would be the first line that goes in there, the first three guys. And probably Shea Theodore as well. Although his price has crept up, there's more mouths to feed with Alec Martinez there. But 20 minutes and the power play duties on that top unit look to be pretty safe. So I love it, man. I love Shea Theodore. Feels like always. And then Vegas is top 6. Where are they at? Do you guys know where they're at in the Stanley Cup playoff odds? Like their odds have to have plummeted recently in a good way. Like, I guess I don't know what you call that. Get better. They've got to be closer to a favorite now. Like a couple weeks ago, they were like plus 1,600, 16 to 1 or 20 to 1 or something like that, which is outrageous. But yeah, they've gone on a nice little tear here. Looks like they found something with these lines. And yeah, I just going to continue to ride the wave here. 15 to 1 still? They're still 15 to 1? That seems crazy. No way. Man, that would be something if they still were. Other guys you could go to on the blue line, mentioned Martinez, and then Nate Schmidt. I mean, most of the guys in the power play here. It's $5K for Schmidt, not a fantastic price, but I guess Vegas, they do have like a stacked top power play at this point. So it is really secondary power play time, I think, that you're getting out of Schmidt and Martinez for that matter. Let's go to the last game of the night. Let me look at this really quick. All right. Let's go to the last game of the night, and then we will get out of here. We've got Pittsburgh and the LA Kings, 3.5 implied total for the Penguins, 2.5 for the Kings. Matt Murray and Jonathan Quick are your goalies. Looks like some shuffling going on the Kings side. Kopitar with Brown and Kempe. We've seen him with Brown. We haven't seen him with Kempe too much this season. Lizotte, Iafallo, and Lewis. Not that big of a deal. I think it was Lizotte, Wagner, and someone, I can't remember who, that had really good numbers, but they keep swapping these lines. Anyways, I kind of like LA too, just because they're probably going to see a bunch of time against the Malkin, Rust, and Hornquist line, which looks like it's back intact. They practiced yesterday. The lineup sites weren't reacting to it. I mean, it looks like they have reacted to it. And so, yeah, I mean, Leonard, going back to the Vegas game, I see you guys talking about Leonard. Leonard is going to get an opportunity at some point. Yeah, I agree with Liquid Demons. I think I agree with you. He's been too good for them to just not play him after trading for him. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch with Fleury and Leonard. I do like Kings 2 as just a super cheap flyer stack, or you could go with Velarde and Ferk as a 2-man. It's listed as the third line, but I think they're both going to see pretty decent minutes. And then on the Penguins side, getting to avoid Kopitar and Brown, I would think will be the Malkin line, fully correlated on the power play. Again, you can certainly stack Pitt 2, or I'm sorry, you can stack, yeah, of course you can stack Pitt 2, but you can also power play stack Pittsburgh. I just think Pittsburgh is my third favorite spot. So I don't want to say like least favorite spot of the top spots because they're all really close. But if the ownership's going to be this similar between the three, it is a pretty clear top two for me. They are, it looks like Pitt 2, man, everyone's like owned as much as they should be in our top stack tool. It's weird. There's like no huge discrepancies. It looks like Buffalo 1's a little bit under owned. But like everyone looks pretty accurate. Let me give a refresh here and see if we've got We might need to get updated pit 2 because I think we ran this before. But yeah, pit 2 I think is the best stack here on the Penguins side. If you're talking about full stacks, Sheary is going to slot in with Crosby and Zucker. And that line's not all that exciting, but Crosby just, it seems to make everyone relevant. It's made Dominic Simone relevant. Cahoon, I think, was up there for a while. Like, he, there's merit in playing anyone that's playing with Crosby, I think. So as a full stack, you're probably going to get that pretty low owned because people will just leave off Sheary. People will probably leave off Zucker, and they'll go Crosby one off. Crosby's not my favorite guy to one off. It's certainly not tonight, but just in general. Kopitar, Brown, Kempe, fully correlated on the power play. They get the matchup against Crosby in all likelihood, but I think the softer matchup you want to go after is probably against this Malkin line with LA2 or LA3 for cheaper and less ownership as well. Subban was terrible for Vegas. Sheary, Hattie, yeah, I mean, I'm all for the lowest owned guy getting the hat trick on the line based on how I play. So I won't be complaining about Sheary and I don't even know. Rust. Will people leave off Rust? We're not leaving off Rust anymore, are we? Rust has been good. I mean, Seth will leave off Rust and then complain about it that he ran bad, but that's just Seth. Pittsburgh, new addition, Patty Marleau slotting in on the fourth line. I'm not sure why they went after him. I don't know, but yeah, he's playing on the fourth line. I guess they need Marleau. Defenseman here, as it is with LA, basically always Doughty gets some ownership because he's under 5K. He's going to play good minutes, but are you going to get anything out of him is always the question. Like, he's got to get points at some point, right? Like, he had a multi-point game a few games ago, but if he doesn't get the points, I mean, he's just taking up a roster spot basically. Like, he's just not doing much of anything in terms of peripherals. So it would be more of a correlation play than anything for me. Right now, I would have Doughty at 8% if the slate started right now, which I'm pretty comfortable with. You guys are funny. Hutton and Matt, Roy, and Walker are all guys I'm playing some of. I think I prefer those guys over Joakim Ryan as at 3,100. They're all in the same price range. The guy I have the most of is... Man, I have some Zach Whitecloud. Is this a mistake? Let me go back and see this. Yeah, I'm going to need to lower that. I don't know why I'm getting some Zach Whitecloud and another Zach Trotman. Anyways. I don't even think Trotman's playing, so I need to get him out of there. I'll update projections once we get off the show here in just a couple minutes. I'm seeing some weird ownership for Marcus Pettersson at 2,800. If he's going to be... I know it's a 3-game slate, and maybe you need salary relief, but I'm finding it okay to just play a lower-owned guy. If you're going to get 10% Marcus Pettersson, he's another one that he doesn't do a ton. He's not a big peripherals guy. It's not like you're getting a major steal at 2,800 here for Pettersson. So we've got him projected for decent ownership. I know he gets the second power play time, but I'll just spread around my exposure on guys, probably quote-unquote worse plays, but guys that have maybe a fifth of the ownership at 2% or something like that, like Hutton, Roy, basically anyone on the slate. Like, I don't think it makes sense to just jam in the chalky, cheap defenseman that doesn't really generate a lot of shots or things like that, blocks as well. So if he's going to be that, I'm cool going elsewhere. And it looks like we've got him projected to be there. Letang at 6,200. we have as one of the highest owned defensemen on the slate. In fact, right now, the highest owned defenseman on the slate. I'm getting to Theodore and Cale Makar a little bit more because I like the spots for the offense a little bit better, and so I like to correlate when I can, and those guys are just a bit cheaper than Letang, so that's why I'm getting to more Theodore and Makar, but Letang's certainly up there. I just don't think I'm going to get to where the field's at on him. We've got a pretty hefty ownership share on him specifically. And then these other guys, Ricola, Schultz, Pedersen. Actually, we don't have Pedersen listed on the power play. Maybe he's not even there. They're okay. I wouldn't pay attention to the power play 2 tag very much on this Pittsburgh team. Like when you got a unit with Crosby, Malkin, Hornquist, Rust, Letang, they're going to get the first and second and third cracks at it. Like you're lucky if you get much of anything for that second unit. Pedersen, no thank you. Yeah, I think I'm correct. Tonight the night Adam Larson finally gets on the score sheet at 3K. Oh man. Adam Larson. Oh, another note that reminds me. Mike Green played 12 minutes last night. Just under 13, sorry. Yeah, so if you're thinking about going there, maybe you want to go elsewhere. Maybe he could jump up and play 15 tonight or 16. That wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, but if he's the guy you're getting to, might want to just find another guy that's lower owned, honestly. I think that's good for this game. I think that's pretty much good for this slate. Thank you all for watching. If you guys could drop us a like on your way out, that would be very much appreciated. Yeah, Nurse and Bear play so much. I agree. I like them. I like them both a ton, and not much else on the Edmonton blue line. We do have NHL projections today for free. If you guys didn't see, these are what we use on the site, and got some FanDuel DraftKings goalie stats, skater stats, whatever you want to see. You can see how you get to the DraftKings and FanDuel points. Got some other important information here. So feel free to check that out. If you are not a premium member, if you are a premium member, you already have that. So I'm sure you're already using those tools. Sign up using promo code NHL Strategy to get 50% off your first week of any Awesemo Plus weekly pass. And I think that is actually a typo on the McKinnon fantasy points. But anyways, I'll go in and check on that. And is there a reason there's no line designation on FanDuel in the projections? It's a good question. I think it's because, if you download these, if you put them into your sheet, you can just look up on that. But I'll ask. I don't know. There might be a reason. The tech team it helped me set this up. So those would be the guys to ask. I will see if we can get that added. If you guys got any questions about anything about the slate, feel free to DM me on Twitter or ask me in Slack. But you guys know that if you've been a subscriber, I'll be around. It is a late lock today, so go get your dinner or whatever. 7:30 Eastern. Be around your computer. I'm not expecting any late changes in this Colorado game. I mean, certainly not. Like, we basically know who's going to be with who. But just in case, just to be thorough, I think you should be around. Always, I've made it a point to try to do that. Hattie? All right, let's do like an under 10% Hattie. Man, Eichel seems like the chalk answer there, right? But under-owned Hattie. Why don't we go with... there's not a lot of options. Maybe Donskoy. Donskoy at 9.3%. We've got him at on DK. Everything's so flat in the ownership projections. But even if you go to like 15% Hattie, like, I don't know. It's tough. I think I agree with the ownership projections. I'm going to be similar. It'll be interesting to see if I can avoid dupes tonight. That's, I think, half the battle if you're multi-entering on these big slates is to cut out some of the lineups that might be duped 4, 5, 10, 20 times in these big tournaments. So that's what I'll be working on for the rest of the day. Again, feel free to DM me if you got questions. I'll be around. My Twitter handle is above me. Nolan and I back tomorrow. And then we'll close out the week. I think we got a pretty good slate on Friday as well. So good luck tonight, guys. And I will catch you tomorrow.